The streets are talking. You are now listening to The Box Out, tri-state area basketball talk at its best. And now your hosts, Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Let's get it.
From NJ to BK and the world, this is The Box Out here on the Just Hoop Talk YouTube channel. My name is Kahlil Thomas. Joining me in just a few minutes will be Jason Cordner from Brooklyn, New York. And the game of the night tonight, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Knicks fan. Kind of, I am saying because I'm a Knicks fan. Knicks Bulls in Chicago. The 3-1 Knicks and the 4-0 Bulls. 4-0. They're undefeated. And listen, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm also a realistic Knicks fan. The Bulls are dangerous. They're probably one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA right now. I know, 4 games in. You're jumping to conclusions. You're using hyperbole. They're the best. It's been a week. Understood. I get it. But if you look at the Chicago Bulls right now, and, you know, a couple weeks ago, we did over-unders about the season, and one of my big concerns were, hey, can Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan play together? Can they share the ball? Because Lonzo's ball-dominant point guard, right? He distributes the ball. Zach LaVine needs the ball. No doubt. In anyone's mind, he needs the ball in his hands. He's a scorer. DeMar DeRozan did a really good job in Toronto, San Antonio sometimes, deferring, but I felt like he deferred so much to San Antonio, he went to Chicago thinking like, I want this to be my team. Or at least I want to have a bigger role than San Antonio. San Antonio he was scores 20, 25 points, but it was like a very quiet 20, 25 points. He's in Chicago. It's not going to be quiet anymore. And right now, look at the stats. They're middle of the road when it comes to points scored. They average about 108 points a game. But the story is they're second in the NBA in points allowed, 97 points per game. As I bring in Jason Cordner on the eve of the biggest Knicks game right now of the season. Jay, what's going on?
Not much. Isn't it crazy how everybody's building this up like the rivalry's back between the Knicks and the Bulls? Like, not even when D Rose was on the Bulls have we been this hyped for a Bulls-Knicks game.
Well, you know, and I put it out there, and I said before when we started, it's hyperbole, but the Bulls are 4-0.
Ain't playing nobody.
I know, but second in the league, 97 points per game allowed. They don't score a lot. Defensive rating, second. They play at a really slow pace, which is weird when you have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball. So they play slow, but they score over 100 points. They hold teams under 100. You know, at this point, and, you know, talk me off the ledge, are they the best team in the NBA right now? Right now?
Absolutely not. They are not the Milwaukee Bucks. They are not the juggernaut Oklahoma City Thunder. And I don't even think they have the best ball brother right now. I think LaMelo's playing out of his mind right now early on. And I think the Bulls are a nostalgia act. Everybody wants to see them do good. They're off to this great start. First time since, you know, I believe since the 96 or 97. I don't think I'm standing on that. They haven't played anybody. I think the Knicks give them a good game tonight. And I still believe, even with a 4-0, possible 5-0 start, they're still the 7th best team in the East, in my opinion.
Yeah, you look at, and you're right. Listen, they haven't played anybody, right? I think the picture I put up on Instagram promoting the show was DeMar DeRozan going around Evan Mobley in Cleveland. Yeah. So that tells you what you probably need to know right now at this point. But, you know, LaVine, 25 points a game. DeMar DeRozan, about 22 and a half. Lonzo's 14. Nikola Vucevic, which I thought was like a great pickup for them last year. He's averaging about 14 points per game. Caruso off the bench, averaging 8. My biggest concern, I said this when we did the over-under part a couple weeks ago, how would Ball, Levine, and DeRozan share that ball because Ball's a ball dominant point guard. Levine needs the ball in his hand to score. And I think DeMar DeRozan, he spent so many years in Toronto and San Antonio deferring. I think he wants to come to Chicago and score points. And I was like, can it work? And it seems like it is right now.
For now, it's working well. But that's what winning does. Winning, solves a lot of problems. But can they sustain it? I don't know. And I'm really curious to see how they play tonight because especially how the Knicks are shooting the three. And I want to see what happens in that situation. Can the Bulls defend the 3-point line? Can they get Mitch in foul trouble? Like, this is going to be their first real test. And ironically, it's on NBA TV and not TNT. I don't that happened.
That bothered me because I'm like, I know they set the schedules ahead of time that you can't just flex games in. But wouldn't you think that the Knicks will have a good season? Wouldn't you want to see Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan early in the season, whether they're winning or not? This is a game you should be on. Meanwhile, and I'm going to look up what's on TNT right now.
I don't think they have games tonight.
No, they don't.
Which is also weird considering there's no World Series tonight. It's all weird.
Huh. Why do they I know that game's on Tuesday.
Right.
That is odd. I didn't think about that actually. Huh. Interesting. Dropping the ball.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, AEW got to move to TBS. I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a lot going on right now. A lot going on in terms of sports.
Oh, but we're going to talk about what's going on later because it was like bombshells dropping yesterday in the wrestling world. So we got to talk about that. Talking about the Knicks, and here's my issue with the Knicks. I know we're 3-1. I should be happy. I should be.
You know why you're not happy? Excited. That was a terrible loss to Orlando. That's why.
Here's my issue, and I said this to a teacher that I work with. When did we become the Golden State Warriors and just start jacking threes up? Like nothing. I feel like, and listen, we're living by the three, we're dying by the three. We almost died by it the other night against the Sixers because that fourth quarter, I think we went like 2 for 12 from beyond the arc. We just started just missing threes. I feel like the bread and butter is driving, maybe kicking out, but you want to get to the hole. You want to draw that foul. You want to put Derrick Rose. You want to put Evan Fournier. You want to put Julius Randle on the line. And I feel like they're settling for a lot of threes that they're making right now, but down the line it could be an issue.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Giannis factor where you don't want Giannis to get comfortable shooting threes, but when they go in, that's the more confidence he builds. And you're right. Early on, I did not see the Knicks becoming such a 3-point specialist team, but it's something where I think the game plan should be attack the rim. If you got to dish out, Fournier has a sweet stroke. I like his stroke. I always like Burke's stroke, and that's also a problem for the Knicks. When 4 of your 5 guys can shoot the three, they're going to get seduced by it a little bit. The only person on the team that's not going to shoot threes is Mitchell, Taj, and Noel. Everybody else is going to jack up at least 3 a game.
Yeah, and right now, you shoot defensively, they're 18th in the league in points allowed. So the Tibbs defensive philosophy, I feel like, is kind of falling by the wayside, and they're becoming more of an offensive team. But the defense is what brought them to the dance last year. Do you think this is going to hurt them by them almost not, I won't say not focusing on defense, but it seems like defense is the last thing in their heads right now, 4 games in?
I think that's going to switch up eventually. I don't know when, but it has to because not all those threes are going to go in. Then what you're going to do, you're not running back in transition. That's going to cause for easy scores on the other side. So especially that Orlando game, I really thought the defense really collapsed in that third quarter, and they did not. Once Ross went off, that was it. And I think that's something that wouldn't have happened last season, but it happened early on this season.
Yeah, that Orlando game, too, you saw what I'm always afraid of, and I know what you talk about as well. Tibbs' rotations get a little wonky, and he falls in love with his 5, and he's going to stick with those 5. Or if you make a mistake, you're not seeing the floor the rest of the game. You're sitting. Right now, Julius Randle's averaging 37 minutes a game. We're 4 games in. If we keep this pace up, by the time we get to March, April, get the playoff time, we're going to see a repeat of last year. Because last year, and people say Julius Randle choked. I don't think it's so much he choked. I felt like he was tired. I felt like he was worn out. So now you got all this depth, and we talk about the depth, and the bench is so deep, and yet Tibbs still does what he does. Like, is this going to change, or is this something we just have to deal with? Is Tom Thibodeau being Tom Thibodeau?
It's Tibbs being Tibbs, but I think he's going to have to, the players are going to have to get in his ear. His veteran players are going to have to be like, listen, kind of like what happened with Coughlin. You got to loosen up a little bit. You got to let these young guys play. Like, I would love to see the rookies get some action here. Just a little bit. It's early season. And the way you got Randall playing all these minutes, like you said, it's going to come back. It might come back and haunt you down the line. However, you kind of like what you're seeing from Obi. So it's one of those things where, like, does Randall really need to be playing 37 minutes right now when Obi is clearly getting 15 to 20?
No, not at all. I think you played Randall. I think at this point in the season, you might play him 30, 32.
Right.
You swap in Obi, give him 25. And you have flexibility. I think, especially in that the opener against Boston, you saw them go Randall at the 5. They went small. So it'll be interesting to see if they do that a lot more, because that was interesting kind of rotation to me, kind of seeing that like, oh, wow, Randall at the 5. Okay. Because a lot of teams are doing it. Maybe they go small. So your small lineup would be Randall at the 5.
Obi at the 4.
Obi 4. I don't think Obi was Obi in the game? I don't think he was in the game.
He was in the game.
It was 28 Rose, Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Obi? Was Obi? The first overtime was Obi, right?
Yeah, it was Obi, yeah.
Yeah, it's an intriguing lineup, but once again, it's a lot. It's a lot of minutes.
Yeah, that's a lot, yep.
So Bruce Morrow checking in. Knicks could probably beat the Bulls if they not too Randall-centric, which I agree. They got to spread the ball around. They got to spread it out. Ronald Polanco checking in. How about the Knicks? He's a Knicks fan. I think he's a Knicks fan. I'm pretty sure that's my boy. I think he's a Knicks fan. He's an Atlanta Falcon fan, so I don't know.
Oh, man.
Yeah, from day to day. Maybe.
Well,
he's a Yankee fan, so.
The Atlanta sports curse might be broke. It might be breaking soon.
From the Hawks or the Falcons?
Oh, I mean, just in general, like if the
Braves, or the Dream, the Dream.
Oh, the Braves. Let's look at the Braves. The Braves might be.
The Braves. No, here. No, this is a sidebar. I'm rooting for Houston because I want Dusty to get his ring.
Not just because the organization is dirty.
Here's the thing.
The moral compass to clean it up.
Here, I feel like here's where you bring in Dusty, because you just look like scumbags. No one ever loves Dusty. No one could hate Dusty Baker. And I feel like people are rooting for the Astros because of Dusty. Like, Dusty's an OG. Like, Dusty's one of those guys. I'm like, Dusty's got to get that ring. I think he gets his ring, he leaves. He's like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm going home now. So I'm rooting for Houston for that reason. Just for Dusty. Not for Atlanta. Plus, Atlanta's in my division, and, what's good. Yeah. So, no.
See, that's what I'm worried about as we turn the box out into the NL East. If the Braves win, you do know that means every team in the division had won a championship in the 2000s. And that would irk me. Except for us. Except for the Mets. That would irk me.
And we came and hired a president of baseball operations. So I don't know what the fuck's going on there. People are like, "No, we're good. I don't want that." Well, if Steve Cohen, the richest owner, no, we're good. We're okay. I'll stay in Milwaukee. Like, what? All right, bet. You hang out. All right, so tonight's game, and Bruce made a good point. I feel like if they spread the ball around, you got to give RJ Barrett a few more shots per game. I want to see Kemba. I want to see more IQ. I don't think Alec Burke hasn't played his best game so far this season. So I think
he hasn't got a lot of time.
No, 19 minutes per game. He's shooting 35% from 3, 37% from the field in general, which seems kind of low for him.
It'll go up. He gets more reps. It'll go up.
I'm also curious about Jericho Sims. I do feel like, listen, Jericho Sims is not going to light the world on fire by any means. Mm-hmm. But he's a big body. He's young, who can move. And I feel like that second quarter, late third quarter, you need that. And I feel like maybe Tibbs don't want to see that, because you want to bring in old-ass Taj Gibson when he's healthy, and bring in I think Jericho Sims is an X factor to grab those rebounds, get those hustles, something that we haven't had since like Anthony Mason, something that we haven't had since Anthony Bonner back in the day. So maybe I'm way too high in Jericho Sims, but I see that role for him.
No, but I mean, he's definitely an energy guy that they could probably use in that second and third quarter. But it's one of those things. Tibbs is loyal to his guys, man. So it's hard to crack that. It's hard to crack that circle of trust.
I know. It's frustrating because, like we say, these guys will be worn out by the time playoffs come. And you're like, oh, well, Randall looks exhausted.
Because you know when Noel's come back, that's going to be another problem now in terms of minutes.
Well, yeah, because you would split up the minutes between Mitch and Noel unless you're in foul trouble, whatever. But in crunch time, would you go with Noel? If you're Tibbs, he might go with Noel. Would you go with Mitch? Because Mitch down the stretch, especially in that Boston game, he looked different. Like he's playing for something. There's a reason in his head now. I got to play harder. Or we talked about before. Do you go small and go Randall at the 5 and just figure it out?
It's a dilemma. You got to see. It depends on the matchups of which teams. Because it worked for the first couple of games. I don't know if it'll work for like Chicago tonight, where they're bigs. Like you can't afford to do that.
Yeah. Well, Vucevic would just shit all over Randall. Yeah. So it'll be bad. Bruce made a good point. Tell me if Bruce is right on this one. If the Knicks had Dame, they would win the East.
Well, I told you before the season started. No, matter of fact, I told you at the Boston game. I'm gonna miss Obi when he's putting up 25 in Portland. I told you once Dame says he won out, it's happening. We're giving up Obi quickly, and maybe a couple draft picks.
Listen, it's dependent on what they have to give up to get him. If I'm looking at the roster right now, right?
They have assets for the first time in a long time. Real assets.
You have 2 first-round draft picks, I believe, right?
Yep.
You give up a first-rounder, which is not going to be good because we have Dallas and ours, so it's not going to be a great draft pick.
Right.
But you give up a draft pick, you give up Obi, maybe you give up quickly and say, this is the initial offer. If you were Portland and say, quickly, Obi, first-round draft pick in the 20s probably, is that good enough, or are you going to go, I need a little bit more?
Probably need a little bit more, but it depends how much, first-round picks the Knicks want to give up. Do they want to put themselves in a hole like the Nets?
The Clippers.
Or the Clippers? Yeah. You want to do?
I mean,
you wouldn't have to be in that kind of hole because I do think the Knicks have great assets in Obi. You might have to give RJ. Like I'm trying to hold on to RJ, but if Portland's talking real crazy, RJ might be he might be this version of what's his name that I hated that the Knicks give up for Melo.
Oh, Wilson Chandler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first round draft pick, Obi, IQ, Quentin Grimes.
Quentin Grimes, okay.
I mean, if you're going to rebuild, if you're Portland, you're going to rebuild, you need bodies.
Not to mention, you're probably going to ship McCullough too, so you're going to get assets right there. So, yeah.
Kevin Knox. Shout out to Kevin Knox. He's still here.
Oh, shit. I be forgetting he's on the roster.
I know, right?
Yeah. I said Randall. No, I mean Knox. Yeah, we'll give you Knox.
Yeah, but does Knox have anything to offer anybody right now?
We're not going to know because he's not getting any playing time. I do think he's worth salvaging. I think he needs another situation, kind of like, well, not like Russell when he went to the Nets. It's not like that, but he definitely needs another situation.
Or is he eligible to go to the G League, or is it? I think his fourth year.
I think fourth year he's not eligible.
Okay, so I was like, that might be a good spot and get some playing time and just ball out and like.
But to answer that question, I do think if the Knicks had Dame and you still have Randall and you still had RJ and assemble some pieces, I think they'll be in the discussion.
Interesting times in New York. We're going to talk about the Nets a little later. I got to get to the Lakers because
I got 2 hot takes on the Lakers. 2 hot takes.
I wish we need like a hot take video. I gotta create a video of hot takes because this team, and I want to say this right now, this team is shitty. This is a shitty team. They're fighting on the sideline. They blew a 26-point lead to OKC. Westbrook was kind of lost. He had a good game the other night, so I can't really shit on him too much, but he doesn't look right. What is wrong with the LA Lakers and their over-under 52.5 win total?
Ooh, that's definitely looking under now. They're not a good team. They're very old. The parts don't match. Westbrook is not, he was never a shooter. He was a great, he's a good stat guy, but when he's turning over the ball 10 times a game, when you don't have LeBron, that's going to be a problem. And I don't know, man. I said it earlier. It wasn't going to work. I feel like this is a Cleveland Cavaliers situation where mid-season there's going to be like an overhaul of talent. I don't know who you're going to get. I don't know who's going to solve these problems. And then you add LeBron. People think LeBron's still the best player in the world. He's not the best player in the NBA anymore, and people need to get over that. I don't know how good this team is going to be. I don't think they're championship-level team at all. That's honest assessment what I see.
So right now, they're 4th in points scored, 30th in points allowed. Their defensive rating, 24th out of 30 in the NBA, 2-3. Listen, I think you said it. Bill Simmons said it as well in his podcast that the roster you see right now in LA will not be who you see come April. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs, and I think we agree with that. They're going to be in the playoffs because they're going to be good enough to get the 4th or the 5th seed.
Yeah.
But that's it. They're not getting any further than where they are. AD's averaging 26 points again. 28. LeBron's 26, Westbrook 17, Carmelo 14, Monk 10. After Monk, there's a drop off. The fact that Monk is getting 25 minutes a game, and he was kind of a throw-in at the end of the offseason. And we got to talk about Dwight versus AD because I would take AD in this fight. I don't think Dwight's got it in him anymore. Have you heard anything about? Because I feel like I haven't heard anything about what happened, what was said, what was done, anything about that fight or that skirmish. I don't want to say fight.
I felt like I wonder had something to do with the NBA top 75 players. Like how the AD creeped up and got on the list before Dwight. Like people forget Dwight was pretty good before he got to Lakers the first go around. He beat LeBron, a young LeBron.
But was he though? Was Dwight Howard really that good?
He got to the finals. He beat LeBron when LeBron was heavily favored to face the Lakers and Kobe that year.
All right,
I'll give him that.
This leads into the conversation. I'm glad you kind of brought it up because I want to talk about this list. So the NBA released the 75 players for the 75th anniversary, and listen. There's a lot wrong with this list. I saw some other lists. I think, what rapper put his list out? Some rapper put a list out and had Spud Webb on his 75. I was like, are you fucking with Spud Webb? Like, what? So automatically, I'm like, okay, that list ain't shit. But I'm not going to read all the names on this list. However, there are some questionable names. Dave Bing should not be on this list. Dave Bing's an old head. I know old heads are like, oh, Dave Bing back in his day. No, Dave Bing should not be on this list. Hal Greer, questionable. Okay. Jason Kidd is questionable, man.
Really?
I think Jason Kidd is a borderline list guy. I don't think he should be on this list.
I think the way they did the list, you got to look at the errors, and I think they did a good job of not stack or comparing the errors. Like I like how the original 50 made it back to this list. Like I really wouldn't have changed. I don't think there's enough impact players of this generation to warrant some guys getting bumped out, except for like the LeBron, the Currys, the Durants. There's not a lot of generational talent to bump those guys out. But I must say Kidd goes in because Kidd was good in college. He came to the pros, co-rookie of the year. He was a winner everywhere he went. He was great with Dallas the first time and the second time. He took a dormant Nets. The Nets didn't make it to any finals. He took them and pretty much took them back to back. Of course, they went up against Shaq and the Spurs, but everywhere he went, he was a winner. So I'm gonna give Kid the nod.
Another player I have questions about, and I don't think you'll agree. James Worthy.
He's a tricky situation because he was never the best or second best. He was always a third option for the Laker team.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like he got in, but Bosh didn't get in, or Vince Carter didn't get in, or not even Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. Like if I was to compare careers, I'm gonna take T-Max. So I was surprised. Yeah, that was one I was like, he could have been bumped. I'm surprised he wasn't.
Well, I think I feel like with this list, they tried to kind of straddle that line of giving props to the older players, like a George Mikan. And I feel like George Mikan and who else? John Havlicek, right? They're almost kind of forgotten about a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, you don't really hear about George Mikan. You don't really hear about Nate Thurman, Wes Unseld. You don't hear about those guys. Lenny Wilkins on a list. I know Lenny Wilkins from coaching. I don't know Lenny Wilkins from playing. But apparently he was a bad boy when he played. So I think the list was trying to figure out, okay, we have the 90s, let's say mid-80s through the late 90s. Right? That's when the NBA became what the NBA is now. So we got to give them props for that era. But we got to go backwards to the 50s and the 60s. And don't forget those guys. So like they were walking this line where a lot of guys were kind of left out. I'm sorry. And listen, should James Harden be on the list? It's debatable. Debatable. Should guys like, I think Steve Nash should be on the list. I think Nowinski should be on the list. Hakeem should be on the list.
Wait, Hakeem's on.
No, he's on the list. He's on the list. Should Dolph Schayes be on the list? I don't know. All right. So I think they're trying to figure out, okay, we got to give props to them, but also bring in the current players. I think that's the debate, and I think that's what they did. And I feel like they got some right, got some wrong.
Yeah, I mean, so you figure from 96 to now, that's where they pretty much got the 25 players. And even then, they kind of messed up a little bit because I felt like, T-Max really should have got consideration. I'm surprised that Alonzo Mourning, out of those three centers, Alonzo, Ewing, Mutombo, only Ewing got in. That's baffles me a little bit.
Yeah, I think does it seem like there's kind of a dead spot in the errors that they kind of left out?
Yeah, it seems that way.
So it seemed like they got to about 97, 98, and there was kind of a drop off. And then kind of pick back up again in like LeBron's era and kind of came back around.
Exactly.
So there was a drop off. That's why I don't see a T-Mac, a Vince Carter, stuff like that. So I think that's an issue.
But I think it's too soon to be having an Anthony Davis and some of these guys get in already.
And I think that's the thing. They're trying to, like you said, trying to get the old heads in, but they're also trying to give the current crop of players their props. But I'm like, it's not their time yet.
Not their time yet.
Now, for the 100th anniversary, we'll see what happens, right? Anthony Davis should be there. But Anthony Davis, and they went in alphabetical order, Anthony Davis should not be above Dave DeBusschere.
No.
At all. So that's part of Bruce Morrow chimes in. Alonzo was never impressive to me.
You didn't like Charlotte Alonzo?
I think Charlotte Alonzo, we got to go back. Georgetown Alonzo,
yep.
was a beast. Right. And that was like Ewing, Mutombo, Mourning. It's like back to back to back. Charlotte Alonzo was good. I think Miami Alonzo, he got a little slower. His knees started going out. So I feel like he had those, 5 years, 6 years, where he was like dominant and one of the best. And him and Ewing would bang all the time.
Dwight had about 8 years of that. So that's my case.
Okay. All right. So, I brought Dwight's numbers up because we got to talk about Dwight. So, we're going to start in Orlando, obviously. All right. So 2004 to 2012 is Orlando. And my computer freezes. See, Dwight Howard's making my computer freeze. See, messed me up. So 8 seasons in Orlando, 18 points, 13 rebounds, 57% from the field, 58% from the free throw line.
Damn, that's it? That's all his numbers?
Those are Orlando numbers. So in those years, 5 of the 8 years he played 82 games. Okay. So he's durable in those first 8 years. 5 of 8 played all.
Numerous defensive player of the years, numerous all NBA.
Was he dominant? I don't know.
I don't think he was. He wasn't Yao Ming dominant, who was also left off the list.
So here's the thing now. Yao Ming, and listen, Yao had an okay career. He didn't blow the house up, but he had a bigger impact globally on the game. So you got to look at that. I think with some situations, you got to look at it in other ways. Dennis Rodman's not on this list, I think. I don't think he made the list. I'm going to double check before I say that and go off. Oh, no, he's on the list. Okay. I'm about to go off. So Rodman's on the list. I think he should be on the list, but people are like, Rodman's crazy. Something wrong with him. He shouldn't be on the list. So you look at it. Howard, the game started changing right when Howard kind of started hitting his stride, as Bruce mentioned in the chat. So I think you started seeing it go down. The game went away from the center. And Dwight tried to become like a step back shooter. That wasn't happening. So it wasn't working. So I know this list, there's a lot of debate to this list that I'm not sure is going to end in them soon.
Would it have been better if they ranked the players 1 to 75?
Oh my God, that would be even worse. Because 1 and 2 is going to be the debate.
Yeah.
It's going to be Jordan, LeBron. And it's going to be nothing in between. Here's my question. And, you listen to...
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because if it's between Jordan and LeBron, do you think LeBron already, right now, has done enough to eclipse the Magics of the world? And I don't think so. If
you go top...
I think when his career is over...
right now, no.
I don't think
right now, absolutely not. I mean, if you look... Jordan's obviously 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kareem is 2.
Okay, that's fair.
I think after those 2, that's when the conversation starts. Because I look at Magic and Bird. I think Magic and Bird, you could interchange them 3 and 4, not just for the game, but they actually made the NBA the NBA. When they started playing the league, they were doing tape delay games.
Exactly.
So you got to put them up there. But then you split up by position. What do you do about position? Because now guys had set positions back then. Now guys play multiple positions now. So we had it when we looked at the preseason awards, and LeBron was in 3 different position categories. So that's another conversation. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot they could have did with this list that they kind of dropped the ball with.
Oh, no, I think they're going to come back with it. We're going to rank our top point guards and power forwards. They're going to come back. We got a whole season of this.
Well, it's funny because, once again, I was listening to Bill Simmons and Bob Ryan. He had Bob Ryan on, old crotchety Bob Ryan.
Yeah.
And Bob Ryan's like, on my list is Adrian Dantley. I'm like, what? I'm like, Adrian Dantley? I'm like, why? He's like, he got to the free throw line. I'm like, okay. So, because Adrian Dantley got to the free throw line, you're going to put him on the top 75 list. It's the weirdest shit I've ever heard. But then you hear all these old timers talk about they're missing a lot of guys. I'm like, all right, who? I'm gonna look at this. So Earl Monroe's on this list, but then Earl Monroe's on other people's list. So I'm like, why is Earl Monroe on your list? I don't know. It's subjective, but it's still a pain in the ass. Yeah. So, back to current basketball. The Nets, they lost last night to the Miami Heat at Barclays, or the Clays, as Durant calls it. I don't know when that started. Is that a thing in Brooklyn?
No one calls it that.
No. And now people are starting to talk maybe they need Kyrie Irving. Maybe he's the missing link. Do you think that's the case, or do you think this is just the listen? Brooklyn, I think they're trying a lot of different shit, throwing a lot of shit against the wall. They're playing a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
They're playing a lot of old dudes. Mm-hmm. It's just the fact that it's not working right now, and they got to kind of find their footing.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. They got to find their footing. Harden's got to adjust to the new rules. He's not going to the line as much. Do they need Kyrie for championship run? Yes. Right now, they really don't need Kyrie. And I don't think Kyrie is the issue of why they're losing. I just think that guys are just trying to find their way right now. Early season woes, they'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out this Bruce Brown situation. Because I feel like Bruce Brown, he got a lot of minutes last night. Mm-hmm. But that was only because Nick Claxton didn't play last night. So he just became an extra body to throw out there. I feel like Bruce Brown, and he's not going to score 20 points a game. He's not going to grab 10 rebounds. But I feel like he's a glue guy that they used a lot last year and really made a difference for him. And I feel like Steve Nash is going away from him and going more to Aldridge, going more to Griffin, going more. You saw a lot of Paul Millsap last night, and Paul Millsap looks lost. Did they make a mistake in bringing Bruce Brown back, or do you think this is just the case? There's too many guys, and he's getting lost in the shuffle because you got a lot of experienced veterans on his team?
I think that's what it is. He's getting lost in the shuffle, a lot of experience. It'll work itself out in the long term, but right now, it's just these guys are trying to figure a way through it. I do think that the rotation has to tighten up, and that seems to not be something they want to do right now.
Yeah, and I'm rotations freak me out for teams like Brooklyn because there's just so many people.
So many people, yeah.
With the Knicks, there's a lot of people, but Tibbs has his 8 guys, and he's like, I'm gonna run these 8. With so many guys, I feel like a coach like Steve Nash, who's still inexperienced, only second year as a head coach, trying to figure out how to get these guys minutes. And listen, they're vets. You got to keep them happy.
You got
to make sure Aldridge gets his minutes. He came back from a damn heart murmur. You got to keep him happy. Paul Millsap came here to win a championship. Keep him happy. He brought Blake Griffin back. Keep him happy. Bruce Brown could have went someplace else and stayed here. Got to keep him happy. Obviously, KD and Harden's going to get their minutes no matter what. I want to see what the rotation looks like. And obviously, I'm assuming Kyrie's going to be out for a minute. So I'm not even kind of bringing Kyrie into the equation.
Oh, man, you don't think he plays until after Christmas?
No. I feel like he's going to be – I feel like at this point, they had people at Barclays repping him, anti-vaxxers, repping Kyrie. I think he's all in now. Because I feel like he's
in too deep. He's in too deep.
Yeah. At this point, he's the poster boy of the – and I'm going to say it, the anti-vax movement. He can't back out now. He can't do that. Like, what channel was it? Newsmax, which is like that crazy Trump Republican channel. They're like, Kyrie Irving's a patriot. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, here we go.
Kyrie's a real American.
Now you know you're all in. You can't back out and get this vaccine, but we're changing my mind, guys, because all hell's going to break loose. So I'm thinking February. For him, at least.
All-Star break. After All-Star break, okay.
Yeah. But the rotation, because someone's going to be out. Like, you can't play all these guys at least, because you're going to give, right now, I'm looking at minutes. Durant, 35, Harden, 33, Joe Harris, 31. Those are only 3 at 30 or more. Yeah, Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, Blake Griffin at 20, and then it falls off a little bit. 19, 18, 17, 11. DeAndre Bembry played a lot last night. He gets 9 a game. James Johnson, who they brought in, he's getting 9. So at some point, these guys, someone's got to get out.
Yeah.
Someone's got to leave. And I want to see who's going to be the person to leave and be happy about leaving.
No.
That's the key.
That's a dilemma. So,
speaking of dilemmas, the latest on Ben Simmons. So, we got to tread very light. Yeah, we got to tread really lightly here because I think the conversation's changed now. And I have issues with where it went now, but we're going to roll with it. Ben Simmons went to Sixers brass earlier this week and said that he's not in the mental frame to play at his highest level at this point. And now he's reporting to the team. He's working out in like one-on-one workouts. And he's actually working with some mental health specialists to get his mind right. All right. So, like I said.
Great cop out, by the way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like it's him like, I got to find a way out because I look like shit. My coaches kicked me out of practice. I got caught with a cell phone in my pocket during practice. There's video of me looking like I'm at a goddamn a damn Sweet 16 somewhere for free, not happy at practice. I got to get out of this. How can I get out of this? Mental stuff. And I feel like the mental thing isn't like it's him. He feels like no one likes him because of what he did and how he played, which is true. He's using it as a cop-out, like you said, to get away from the fact that he's not improved as a basketball player. He's not improved as a member of the Philadelphia Sixers, and he's using this to get away from the real problem, which is him and his inability to actually become a good basketball player.
It's sad that he's using a CBA loophole. It's also sad that it's working. And it's like, I want to know was it Rich Paul who figured that out? I'm curious to know. But it's just another tale in this long saga that seems to both him and the organization need to split. But no one knows how to make that split happen. And no team wants to take on Simmons' baggage in terms of not even the skill set, but like he's really snaking his way out of the situation. I think that's more problematic than his skill sets.
And the money.
Oh, yeah, you can't forget the money. Good Lord.
4 years, 170.
That's a lot of money.
So not only are you going to deal with not only going to deal with a basket case, you're going to deal with a bad teammate, then you got to deal with just your salary cap being destroyed. Yep. So who wants it? And Daryl Morey said, I'm not going to just give them away, so buckle up. I'm like, well, you probably need to figure out what you're going to do.
Exactly. Because
now Embiid is trying to be the bigger person and shout out Ben Simmons to the crowd in Philly, and they weren't feeling it. They were not having that. So, and you're putting Embiid in a bad spot because Embiid said what he said, and I had to kind of go back on what he said and become the bigger person because he's like the face of the franchise. This is going to end badly. I keep saying it's going to end terribly. And I don't think it's going to end in a trade. I think it's going to end with Philly going, okay, ain't nothing wrong with you. Go home. We're done here. And call it a day. So it's going to be interesting. Right now, a quick update. In third quarter, Philly up 73-62 on the Pistons. That's in the third quarter. In the third quarter as well, Washington 97, Atlanta 81. That's in the third quarter, 2 minutes left in the game. Knicks up 35-29 on the Bulls right now in the second quarter, 9 minutes to go. In the second quarter, 32-21, Utah up on Houston. In the first quarter, just started, Spurs up 2-0. And later tonight, Memphis visits Golden State, the 4-0 Golden State Warriors, who don't even have their full complement of players, and they're right back in this. I'm thinking maybe we shorted them a little bit with the over-unders.
I think we did. I think we didn't think that, Steph could carry the load by himself. But they got complementary pieces in a very competitive Western Conference. I think we definitely should win over. And I think the Warriors, once they get Clay back, they're going to be a tough out for anybody in the playoffs. Well,
it's going to be interesting when Clay comes back because everything's flowing. And I feel like you watch them play and you're like, oh, they're missing one thing. And Clay's that one thing.
Who will be motivated for not making the 75 list, by the way.
See, should he have made it? Should Klay Thompson make that list?
If he didn't play with Steph Curry, he should have made the list because he played with him and the teammates, and they're part of that Splash Brother dynamic. And Steph clearly is the better shooter out of the two. That hurt him.
Quick shout out to Andrew Wiggins playing good basketball, vaccinated and all. So that vaccine helps. That vaccine's good shit.
The little Pfizer gave him a little boost, a little pep in the step.
The one thing about this team too, and I feel like it was kind of forgotten about, players like Jordan Poole, Damian Lee, Kevon Looney got a lot of playing time in the last couple of years. But mainly Poole and Lee, I think last year shortened season, and then the year before that when Steph was out, Draymond was out, Clay was out, those two guys get as much playing time as they did in those really, really bad seasons. I think probably helped them to the point where they're a bigger piece of this team. I think Jordan Poole is a part where they're not 4-0 without Jordan Poole right now.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
So I think maybe
it goes to show you that maybe they got pieces there if they want to pull the trigger and get another superstar.
Oh God, you started Bill Simmons now.
Listen, if there's one organization waiting to pull the trigger, it's the Warriors, man. They're ready.
I mean, if you look at, look at the roster right now. You could move. You can't move both Poole and Lee. You got to move one or the other.
Move one other.
You could move Wiggins.
Who, like you said, is really playing really well. He's buying in. I like him.
But also bad contract again. Or I don't think Otto Porter's working out. I don't think Otto Porter's a good fit for this team, especially when Clay comes back. I think he becomes a forgotten player. Okay. So you got a draft pick, Otto, and either Jordan Poole or Damian Lee. I think that's and Wiggins. I think that's a damn good package to pick up a good player.
It is. I think so. But who are you going to get? Who are you going to get to join the new NWO?
You can't get another guard. Wiseman's coming back eventually.
I forgot about Wiseman there.
And that's something he hasn't even played yet. He hasn't played a game yet. So I'm like, that's going to be another. And he's a year under his belt. He knows what they expect. I think he'll be good too. I mean, you might need a three. You might need like a long three, like a Durant type player. So you will look for like a. See, but you have Belika. I don't know. Bjelica is good. I like him too. I don't know. Maybe they just stay put. Maybe just don't do anything.
Maybe just add Clay and Wiseman and just go.
Yeah, that's like a mid-season acquisition right there.
That is true because the West is not as formidable as people think. Because the Lakers are not that good. The Clippers are not going to be good without Clay. It's really Denver, Utah, and maybe that's it. I think that's it. I think if you was to ask me who's going to withstand their 4-0 between the Bulls and the Warriors, it's the Warriors by a mile.
Well, Clay, Wiseman, and Kuminga hasn't played it either.
They have a nice little quiet squad.
Yeah, so now I'm like, maybe they don't do shit. Maybe they just leave it alone.
Maybe they've been rope-a-doping us the last 2 years. Like, hey, listen, when Clay gets back and we added Wiseman and these little pieces here, trust our process. Hey,
and listen, you have all these pieces, especially the guard situation. You don't have to bring Clay back and play a ton of minutes. You can kind of slowly get him in. Bruce Morrow makes an interesting trade proposal. Draymond and Kuminga for Ben Simmons.
See, I think I think they might pull the trigger on that. Because Simmons pretty much gives you the Draymond aspects, but a better playmaker. We're not gonna ask him to shoot. We don't ask Draymond to shoot, but he tends to want to shoot.
Yeah,
Draymond and Embiid, that's some bully ball in the East. That's bully ball in the East.
See, but here's my issue with Draymond. And I know Draymond gets a bad rap. I know he talked a lot of shit in the organization. He is kind of that heart and soul of the organization.
That's true.
But you give up Draymond, you lose that. And I think Clay and Steph loves him for that. Because I feel like it's like an angry Obama situation.
Yeah.
Like Key and Peele sketch. Right? Steph is Obama. Draymond is angry Obama. So Draymond acts the way Steph can't act. Steph has to kind of keep appearances and be the statesman of Golden State. Draymond's that dude like, yo, handle that. I got you, bro. And he'll do that. He's like your boy. He's like, yo, can you do it? I got that. I got you, bro. And he'll handle it for you. I feel like Steph likes that.
It'll be funny. If they get Simmons, that would be the most. I would call them the Golden State DeBarges because they would be one light-skinned trio, threesomes. I mean, it just would, yeah. There's gonna be some pretty ball going on in the Bay.
I'm glad you said that because the other night I was watching. You watch Unsung, right?
Yeah.
So you see the barge one?
I didn't see the barge one.
So I know about Chico and I know all about the DeBarges, and I guess I never realized how messed up they were. And they got really big. Red Little Night came out, and they got big, and all of a sudden they all got in trouble. Like every single one of them started doing drugs and got in trouble, and blah, blah, and then Chico got out. Chico went back to jail. Well, damn, no, this is the saddest damn Unsung. This is almost as sad as the Teddy Pendergrass one.
Yeah, that was sad. That was pretty sad. That was pretty tragic.
So I was like, damn, this is. I don't want to watch this shit no more. It's like that and the what was the other one that was really sad? My mom put me up on it. That was another real sad one.
But the fall of the DeBarges, oh, that was tragic.
It was crazy. I'm like, yo, all of them were on trial. Every single one of them. I'm like, well, damn. And I think one of them just died not too long ago.
This is why sports betting should be legalized everywhere. If you want to do drugs, gamble on sports, America.
Gamble on sports. This past week, also, I think last week as well, the Big East had their media day. I wasn't able to go because I had to work. I got the invite last minute.
It's first media day I missed in a long time.
So Villanova, preseason choice. You look at the Big East this year, there's really nothing.
Not a lot of separation.
No, and I'm not. This is the first time I can say this. I'm not really excited about this Big East conference season.
Is next year UConn come in?
Oh, UConn was in last year.
Oh, what's wrong with me? But they don't have a good class. They don't have a good class. That's what I'm thinking.
No, not at all.
I think next year is where that class probably comes in. But I think it's going to be Villanova cakewalking it to another championship.
You look at UConn got one first place vote. So you can see Villanova, you can see UConn. Like you said, UConn's a year away from really making some noise in the Big East.
Yeah,
as Bruce Morrow puts in, Big East is the biggest lease
this year. It'll be back eventually.
You look locally, St. John's 4th, Seton Hall 5th, and then our boy Patrick Ewing, Georgetown, they're projected to finish 10th in the Big East.
Damn.
There's just no excitement at all for the season. Like, I'm gonna watch because I may cover Seton Hall this year. I'm kind of don't want to. Well, here's the thing, and I know then we're gonna go off into the COVID thing. I'd rather go to a smaller school like NJIT because Jersey Sporting News is local, so I don't no more New York. I'd rather go local where it's not gonna be a lot of people.
Okay.
But also access. I feel like Seton Hall sometimes believe that they're Duke and don't really give the access that they probably should because they think that they're like, oh, we made the tournament. Like, well, did you win?
Did you win a game?
did you get through? So NJIT might be the spot. I might go cover St. Peter's with Shaheen Holloway.
Okay.
I covered them a couple of years. I might hit up Jersey City. But Seton Hall, they're a young team, a lot of transfers. St. John's, I'm still not sold on Mike Anderson and whether he can recruit New York. Georgetown, they won it. It was a lot of luck, a lot of lucky bounces, but they got it. And I feel like Ewing's still not getting the respect as a coach. And he probably bought himself another 4 or 5 years in Georgetown with the tournament win last year. So my question to you is Villanova, and that's it. That's what we're saying right now.
Yeah, Villanova. You want to take Villanova or the spread? I'm taking Villanova. I just think they're stable, and we know they're the Dallas Cowboys for the NFCs. We know what we're going to get from them. We don't know what we're getting from anybody else.
And Seton Hall, Sandro, he's gone. Jarrett Roden becomes the big star. Miles Kahlil, who's probably one of those inconsistent players in the Big East.
Yeah,
he's going to be leaning on a lot. 5th-year player. I don't see it at all. I think if they end up with a winning record, I would be shocked completely.
Okay.
And then St. John's. Is anyone talking about St. John's in New York?
No.
That's
I feel like no one's talking about St. John's at all. It's more Connecticut. That's why I was like, is Connecticut? No, they don't have a good class this year. Next year they will.
Bruce Morrow chimes in. Georgetown has Jordan Brand, so they got that going for them. That helps.
Yeah. How bad does Ewing have to feel? Not only did Jordan get the best of you in the pros, but now your kid's got to be wearing his logo. Wait,
he has to too. He's got to rock Jordan warm-ups. So
yeah, bro.
This is some bullshit.
Jordan is freaking. He was Jeff Bezos before Jeff Bezos. No one realized that yet.
Yeah, but Enes Kanter invited him to go to some sweatshops in China. So
oh boy, You gotta watch his back. You gotta watch his back. And
well, look, Cantor. I give Cantor this, and I like Cantor when he was with New York because I just like how he played. Cantor is very, very socially aware, and he doesn't give a shit. He's gonna say what he thinks. And I think that has been. I know John Oliver talked about Taiwan last week and how Taiwan. Anyone who talks about Taiwan or Hong Kong gets like canceled. Like canceled. John Cena had to apologize in Mandarin to China. In perfect Mandarin too. It was weird. I think Cantor makes a good point. Maybe the way he went about it wasn't the greatest look.
I agree with that.
I think that's his problem. I feel like he knows what he's doing and his heart's in the right place. How he gets the message out is the issue.
He's a European Draymond Green. What can you say?
I mean, he's American now because he can't go back to Turkey ever again. He's stuck. He's out. Real fast before we leave, big news in wrestling, and we got to talk about this. I know people will be like, "Oh, here we go, turn us off." Ring of Honor is like done.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor just stopped. I'm like, okay. So Ring of Honor is a small. They were a big organization. Like they're kind of an indie promotion now. Press release from Sinclair Broadcasting saying we're going to reboot at the final battle. Everybody's free. Everyone's out of contracts. Do what the fuck you want.
Yep.
And hopefully we come back in April. Probably ain't happening now. What the hell happened?
For what they were saying, they were paying the wrestlers a whole year and a half during the pandemic when there was no shows. That was problematic right there. Should have paid them half the pay or something. But they ran out of money. It seems like that's what it is. They ran out of money, ran out of funding, and what they low-key should have did is holler at Vince. They should have hollered at Vince, do some kind of partnership. You saw AEW was doing that with TNA and New Japan.
Well, not anymore. The TNA deal's over now.
They all say, well,
they didn't really help. They didn't really help them.
It really didn't help anybody except it didn't help anybody but the elite.
Yeah, really. Oh, well, hold on. Bruce, my guy. Love it. Let's go.
I mean, I don't know if it's dying or it's dying to be bought by somebody. I think that might be still be played. From what I'm hearing, Disney might want to buy it. I don't know how that's going to affect if that happens, but they are dying. You know what's crazy? Did you see the pay-per-view lineup for next year?
Yeah, how they left the weekend open.
Well, not just that, but it's like we're going to have Money in the Bank at the Raiders Stadium.
Yeah.
We're going to have SummerSlam at the Titan Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So and then the Royal Rumble is at the Saints' old stadium. I mean, the Rams' old stadium in St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis.
So it's like the venues are getting better, but the product's getting worse.
Because I think they're banking on people like, you're not going to watch the WWE, you're going to watch the Royal Rumble. You're going to see Money in the Bank. Like, you go see WrestleMania, you forget WrestleMania WWE, it's WrestleMania.
And that sucks too, the whole 2-night thing with WrestleMania. Like, they're sticking with that theme. Like, I'll be pissed if I only can afford one night and you don't know what's going to be the better night.
Wrestle Kingdom, New Japan, they're going 3 nights.
Oh, wow. Talk about up the antes.
So, actually, no, wait. Is it 2 nights?
It's usually 2 nights.
No, I think it's 3 nights. I think they want 3 nights this coming year. So they're like, fuck it. Let's go 3 nights. They're going to have The Rock. Yeah, pretty much. They're going to have Rock at 60 years old running around and make money.
You haven't watched Goldberg. Goldberg's close to 60, and he's out here looking like he's 20.
Well, it's funny because the idea of Goldberg, like, I feel like AEW, they've kind of figured out how to use Sting a little bit.
I agree, because they use him perfectly.
Yeah, he shouldn't be wrestling all the time. He shouldn't be going for any titles. Like, just, he's there. He's backup for Darby, blah, 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 blah. Tully's the manager. Glock Anderson, my guy, manager, right? They know how to use old guys. WWE is like, can you wrestle? Do you got your boots? And people are like, well, I don't want to see them. Like, I don't. Are you gonna dig up like Dusty? Like, what are we doing?
If they could, they would.
And then real fast, I got to vent because I'll watch Halloween Havoc NXT 2.0 on Tuesday against my better judgment.
You wasn't happy about Mandy or the next Uso or Uso brother number 3?
Here's the thing. I feel like I get they had to make a change, and they want to get away from indie guys, meaning all these Ring of Honor guys who won't have jobs don't have jobs there in WWE because they don't want them. But they went too fast into like, let's just change everything up and try. But let's change it up, but have Tommaso Ciampa, who looks like someone's uncle, have the champion. If you're going to switch it up and go 2.0, just put the belt on Braun Breaker.
Too soon. You know it's too soon. They couldn't do it. It was too soon.
If you're going to do it, if you're going to go brand new and go all in, go all in. Don't go half-ass in, but still have your champion be an old guy.
Because it looks like Steiner's getting that John Cena booking where it's like he came in real hot night one, and we're going to he's identified as their next star. Him and a couple others are definitely identified as the next star.
Tony D'Angelo, what's up?
Mandy Rose, I don't know what to make of that. I like the click. I like the click she's in, but I don't know about her as champion. I don't know about that.
Someone said they had a picture of Mandy and the two other women she's with. They both tag champions out, and someone said it looks like an OnlyFans.
Yeah,
which I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
I can see
but
that.
AEW, Hangman's back. I'm happy. Long Island may or may not happen because I'm getting mixed signals from people about if they want to go or not.
Oh damn!
If I got to go to Long Island alone, I will. I will Long Island, go Buckwell by myself. I'll meet you there.
All right, fair enough.
Right, before we leave, we're way over an hour, but fuck it. NBA League Pass.
Okay,
what are we doing? I'm thinking we just say fuck it and buy it.
Okay.
And just, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Absolutely. I am a big believer of that saying, by the way.
So I say, tomorrow's the 29th. I get paid. Make the move.
Going in?
I'm going to go in.
Question. Is yours on, you have it on your cable?
Yeah.
Because my girl freaked out on the remote control the other night when she was trying to watch, I don't know what it was, VH1. And when you had to go through the NBA stuff, she was like, holy crap. There's a channel for every team? I was like, yeah, that's how League Pass usually works. I was like, well, you just have to start programming your favorite channel because if you want to scroll like the manual way, yeah, you're gonna have to go through all of that just to get to the.
Or go to like that main, page and says, go to channel so and so to watch Sacramento versus blah blah blah. I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? The preview is such a tease. It is over in a week, and you're like, damn. I just watched Sacramento.
But you know what? 2
nights in a row.
But you know what? If we wasn't living in our market, so we were right now, and we didn't have MSG Network, this is a prime example game why we need the League Pass. Because it's not even on TNT. It's not even on TNT, and not everybody has NBA TV.
That's true. You doing it? You do it?
I'm doing it. I'm down.
I bet. All right, so the National Nightmare's over. We got it. League Pass. Justin Henry, Just Hoop Talk, we're in. We got it now. We're with you guys.
Oh, they got it too.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to get us. They're trying to get you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to get it.
All right. I'm in. I'm in.
So
I'm going to set it up tonight.
We're in. We're good. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not going to say nothing until the bill comes in. And call it a day. Yep. Jay, as always, great show, man.
Likewise.
All right. So we went past an hour, but who cares? We're on YouTube. So we'll be back next Thursday night, 8 p.m. Go Knicks. Quick update before we leave. 55-51. Knicks on top of Chicago at the half at the United Center. So hopefully Knicks hold on. We'll be back next Thursday. So for Jason, I'm Kahlil. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week on Just Who Talk YouTube channel. Peace.